Hello, and welcome to another episode of Hearts Unlocked, the podcast where today we are going to talk about books. Yes, you heard me right. Today we are going to talk about books. We are going to deep dive into the books that inspire us, that transform us. Without further ado, let's get into it. I'm your host, Veronica, and today we are going to explore a perfect book which I've came across. A perfect book which I thought sharing with my listeners would be the great way of helping others who needs that help. It's actually a truly profound book titled Learning to Love Myself by Alex Aubrey. Have you heard about that book? If yes, wow, that is a perfect book which you ever want to read. This book, it tells deeply about finding self-acceptance or inner peace or just loving yourself. So, just grab a cup of coffee, get comfortable, and let's start the journey together. Let us look into how does this book help me, or how is it going to help you guys, and let's go through some of the messages in the book, shall we? Learning to love oneself. The book is a treasure of wisdom, filled with messages, quotes that reminds us to stay true to ourselves. Embrace the healing process and never settle for anything less than we deserve. Sometimes we just, go in the flow, or we just doubt ourselves and we think, okay, this is what we deserve. Okay, let me adjust to it. Let me just settle for it. But no, you don't need to settle for anything less than you deserve. You deserve way more than that. Please give yourself some credit. And today I'm going to share some memorable quotes from this book. Okay? And before we dive into some of my favorite quotes from the book, when we look into some Instagram reels or some YouTube shorts or videos, everything, wherein they seem so easy, they'll show you something wherein like you should love yourself more and everything starts from loving yourself. Yes, I totally agree to that. Things starts from loving yourself. But it looks so easy, seems so easy in a short or in a reel, but trust me, in your life, in a real time, it comes with tears, struggles, moments of self-doubt. You will be doubting yourself, and you will even self-sabotage, or you don't even think that you can do it. You'll feel hopeless. But with all these moments where you can find your true strength, just find something to hang on to, some emotion, some anchor where you can hang on there. Just don't let the emotions sweep you off. Okay? Trust me. Once every single person's journey towards self-love and healing, or finding your true self, everything would be different from person to person. You shouldn't compare yourself with some other person you saw on internet, or some other person you saw on Instagram, or not even your friends and family. Every single person's healing journey is way different, way different. And when you're talking about healing from your past traumas, or you have to forgive yourself for doing some things, or you have to forgive yourself from taking some decisions. Sometimes, it's very painful. You'll be having a huge battle between your inner self, like your teenage self and your adult self. You'll be going through a lot of battles. Sometimes you feel that, there are thousands of voices screaming inside my head, and I just can't understand what they mean, or I just can't concentrate on one single voice. Sometimes I just feel a huge headache and you just want to shut it off. I have been through every single stage of that. Now, with all of that, let's get into some quotations of the book, some phrases in the book where every single one of us can relate. The first one, which I actually loved from the book, is you know you need to leave when the thought of it makes you feel relieved. I mean, have you ever, come a thought saying that, okay, for example, it's a person, okay? Sometimes holding on to some things or holding on to a person makes more damage than letting it go. Have you been there? Yes, I have been there. I have been holding on to a person for years. I did that. I mean, it was a couple of years ago. Now that I've let it go, I just can't, I just don't understand why we humans want to hold on to it. Maybe we have a fear of abandonment, like, someone abandon you, you being alone, you have a fear of that. Or you have a way of pleasing people, you are a people pleaser, you just want to please everyone, so you be there and you hold on to it. But I have been holding on to a person for 8 whole years, and I finally thought letting it go would be the best choice. And trust me, that was the best choice I ever made, letting it go. Have you ever did that? Like, just give it a thought of letting it go, and it brings you so much of a relief, like, wow, so peace, right? I know, I have been there. And the second quotation, which I really loved from the book, which is kind of resonates or kind of links with the first quotation which I've just shared. Sorry, the quote, not a quotation, sorry. A quote which I've just shared is, ask yourself, why are you still holding on? Does it feel good, or does it just feel familiar? Right? Sometimes we hold on to some things because it feels familiar. So when it comes to a person or anyone, so we would be going through some trauma, or we were in a toxic relationship and it didn't work, so we tend to find the same qualities. Sometimes we subconsciously tend to look for the same qualities of the last person in the next person, and we will try to make that work. And I mean, it's just a way to prove our brain, saying that, hey, no, it does work. Sometimes when your mom or your dad or any of your friends or someone, some XYZ person, someone tells you saying that, hey, you can't do it, instead of accepting it, saying that, yeah, this is a bit too much for me, but I will try to give my best. If I can't do it, maybe I'll just live it. Instead of that, we'll try to prove the other person, stating that, hey, no, I can do it, I will do it. It's more of not like the confidence on yourself. So if you have that confidence on yourself, stating that, hey, no, I can do it, that's a different case scenario, that's good. But sometimes it comes up with the ego, that is more likely comes with an ego, stating that, okay, you telling me what I can do and what I can't, I'll prove you that I can do. So that usually takes up so much of our energy, and we'll try to prove something which we do not need to. Okay, you can please don't compare yourself with others. Just compare with yourself. Hey, I'm better than what I am 3 years ago, or I did marvelous than what I did yesterday. That is how you compare yourself. That is how improvement is. That is what survival is. You just do not need to compare yourself with others. Just do it with yourself. Okay? And up with the third quote, or the third phrase, whatever we can call it as, is, I don't know how I found myself here, but this is what I'm going to do from here that will make all the difference. Isn't that sounds so good? I mean, in the past, whatever, what do you call it as, decisions you had to make, and because of that, you ended up here where you are right now. And that is the past. You can't change any of it. You can't just go and create a time capsule or a time machine and go down 10 years and change whatever you've done. Trust me, if that's possible, all of us would want to go. I mean, maximum of us. I wouldn't say all of us. But if you ask me about the time capsule or a time machine like 3 years ago, and I would have said yes. I would love to travel, like, I don't know how many years ago, and maybe talk myself out on not to get into a relationship, or talk myself out on not to do a couple of things. But whatever you have done back then, or whatever decisions you have taken back then, each and every single decision which brought you here might have taught you some lessons that will be good or not so good lessons, but every single thing is a lesson for you. Whatever decision, personally me, whatever decision I have took like few years ago, like maybe 5 years ago, and due to that decision I'm here right now, I really respect that decision now. I'm like, okay, that Veronica, I mean the past Veronica, yes, she took that decision. Well and good, because she took that decision because during that time she feel that decision was the best. Good for her. And now because of that decision, this Veronica, future Veronica, is over here and she's living a life which is something different. And that's okay. I forgive that Veronica, I forgive the past Veronica, and the present Veronica is trying to find a way from here. She's trying to do something from here. So just don't think about the past and what you can do to change it, because you can't do anything to change it. So just try to live in the present and try to make most of the present. That's the only thing you can do rather than worrying about the past. Okay, so the next one. There are so many beautiful messages in this book, and I feel, I do not know if there is a, better book if I would like to read at that point, but, okay, the next one is, it took a long time to get here, and I don't want to lose myself again. Have you ever felt that, okay, I have came such a long way from my past and now I feel lost again, or I feel like giving up, or I feel like, hey, I've just come back to my square one? No, darling, no, sweetheart, you're not. It's just like maybe you're tired, you just need some rest. That's it. Just like our body, our mind do need some rest. You just can't go to gym like every single day, every day in a month or every day in a week, like literally every single day. You need to give your body the rest, maybe once a week, or like once in 8 days, once in 10 days, whatever your body desires. Some people body desire once in 4 days, whatever your body desires. So the same way, your mind, it do deserve some rest. Your mind also craves for that rest. Sometimes it goes numb, okay, like no thoughts, it's just numb. It's the mind's way of getting the rest it needs. Sometimes when you don't give your body the required rest it needs, it will give you like all kind of body aches or fatigue, muscle cramp and everything, and it takes the rest it needs. the same way the brain takes the rest it needs. Sometimes it just go numb, as I say, and sometimes you just feel lazy and not think about anything. I don't want to think about it right now. So there is the brain's way of taking rest. So you deserve that rest. Just take some rest and continue from where you have stopped. I've seen this reel in Instagram probably saying that, your healing journey is not like, from step zero you go to 1, 2, 3, 4, constantly you just go up, 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 up. No. So it's like from 0 you go to 1, you go to 2, you go to 3, then again you drop down to 1, and from 1 you go to 2, 3, 4, and again you drop down to 0, and from 0 you again go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and from 5 you drop down to 2, or whatever. It's just about dropping down, picking yourself up, take the rest you need, pick yourself up, and go again. It's never a straight line. It consists of zigzag lines, circle, you just go in a loop for a couple of days, and again you come out of the loop. So it's a never ending process. That's what I feel. And again, each and every single person's journey towards healing, it's totally different. It's totally depends on the trauma you have been through, and it totally depends on the generational trauma which has been inherited. People say that, again, this is another Instagram reel which I have came across, wherein it's from a doctor or a therapist, if I might say so. He or she, I'm not sure exactly which Instagram handle is that. I totally forgot about it. I didn't save it. I thought to save it, but I forgot. So the therapist or the doctor, whoever, said that thing, that you would be having a generational trauma, which your grandparents' trauma, wherein your parents' trauma and your trauma, every single thing, it's passed down through generation. The trauma which your grandparents didn't face it, your parents had to face it, and the trauma your parents couldn't face it, you have to face it. And remember this, the trauma where you couldn't face it, your kids have to face it. I know it's hard for us, for you, for anyone to just snap like this out of a trauma. I hope it was that easy, but no, you have to go through a lot. I guess our grandparents do not know about what actually trauma is and how to heal from them, because their parents are not aware. They didn't teach them. There was this conversation with my mom. I was talking to her about this postpartum depression, and she just took it very casually. She was like, "Oh my God, you kids, this generation, you just link everything to trauma. You guys link everything to depression. I've gave birth to you guys, and I've gave birth to two of you, me and my brother." And she's like, "I didn't go through any of this postpartum depression." That's good for her if she didn't really go through any postpartum depression. But for people who have gone through this postpartum depression, like in our parents' generation, maybe they are not even aware that this is what postpartum depression means, because they didn't had any this kind of social media, or maybe therapists or doctors or their parents to teach them what actually postpartum depression is, or the awareness of what actually postpartum depression is. They're just not aware of it. Our generation, this generation is so blessed. I can say that we have so many resources to understand what we are going through. Or maybe our parents don't understand what we are going through because they do not know what is it, but our friends can, a therapist can, any official, they can understand what we are going through. When I had this conversation, again, I had another conversation with my mom, wherein I told her saying that, yes, I have visited the therapist a couple of times. And she was like, why? Why do you even need to talk to a therapist? See, I mean, in their era or in their generation, they just feel that when you talk to a therapist, something is really wrong with you, or you're going out of hand, or you're mad, or you're crazy women, or something. I don't blame them. That is what maybe their parents have imprinted on them, or that is what maybe the society has imprinted on them. I mean, I still feel there is, still people in our generation where they feel saying they're going to a therapist means you have already lost, you're nuts and you're crazy and everything. Because, my ex-boyfriend felt that. He was like, oh, you're going to a therapist. I'm pretty sure the therapist is going to change you. The therapist is going to make you an emotionless person. And why do you even need to go to a therapist? Are you mad? Are you crazy? This is what I used to get. This is the dialogues I used to get from him. This is the phrases or the heartbreaking words I used to hear from his mouth. I mean, I just wanted a comfort from him. Oh, you're going to a therapist. Yeah, I mean, I understand that you're going to a therapist, but you can talk to me about anything. I'm there for you. Something like that. But yeah, it's okay. Now I understood what kind of person I want just because of my past relationships. So, just because of the decision I took to be in their life, or the decision I took to, be in the relationship. And now I have a very clear version, or not version. Now I have a very clear points, you might say, or I really do not know what is the exact word to use here. But now I'm very clear on what kind of person I want in my life. I'm not going to settle for anything less. I did settle for something less in my past because I think this is what I deserve, or I think that is how it is, because I've seen my grandfather, abusing my grandmother in front of my eyes, and I was like, oh, maybe that's okay, or maybe that's how it is. So when my ex-boyfriend, he abused me with all his words, let it be physically or mentally, I used to take it as a, oh yeah, I mean, that's how it's supposed to be, because I've seen my grandfather abusing my grandmother in front of my eyes. So I thought, oh, that is how it is. But it took me 8 whole years to understand, no, Veronica, you deserve a lot better. You do not deserve to be in this position. You do not deserve to be in this relationship. I was, it was like I wasn't myself in that relationship. Things I love, I lost it. I just lost myself, and I didn't feel myself anymore. So while you coming out of all this trauma, it's going to take a toll on yourself, trust me, but just hang on to that anchor, and you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Okay, last but not the least, obviously I'm not going to tell every single quote which I love from this book. Then obviously you're going to get bored of this podcast, and it's going to be like, I don't know, hours or days, because every single quote in this book, I felt like it was talking to me. Whenever I felt like I need an answer, or whenever I feel confused, I just used to just open this Kindle version of the book. I read the Kindle version of the book. So I just used to open it, and suddenly a message saying that, the hard times you're going through now will teach you everything you need to know later in your life. Something like this, a quotation. Then I was like, oh, this is teaching me a lesson. What kind of lesson is that? And I was like, yes, the hard times I had in my life previously, it did taught me a lesson, saying that, hey, Veronica, don't settle for anything less. Hey, Veronica, you don't deserve this. You deserve a better person in your life wherein he can see you for you, wherein he loves you for you. He loves you, your childish nature, your dressing style, your socialization, you being social with your friends, you valuing your friends, every single thing. He's gonna love you for you. That's what I learned from this book. Okay, as I promised, the last quote for this. The only limitations are the ones you put on yourself. Do you know that you can do a lot more by just thinking that you can do it, or by just believing that you can do it? If you believe that, hey, I can do this, then that is the starting step, trust me. Suppose that you can, your mind automatically brings up all the evidence on how you can do it, or you will push yourself on how you can do it. But the first thing first, I know sometimes you might feel stuck. You don't know how to do it, you don't know where to start. But the first thing is that you have to believe in yourself that you can do it. So it's not just about you doing it. Okay, so for example, I want to hit the gym every day and I want to keep myself healthy, keep my body fit. Okay, that's what I want to do. But first thing first, I should believe that I can do it. I should believe that I can wake up early in the morning and put on my gym clothes, put on my socks, put on my shoes, carry my gym bag and a water bottle and a protein shake, and I can head to the gym. I should first believe in myself or motivate myself that I can do it. Without that, you just can't do anything. And the first thing, you have to trust yourself. As I just said, there are a number of quotations saying that, hey, you should love yourself first. If you don't love yourself, how can you expect the other person to love you? The same way, if you don't trust yourself, if you don't put in that effort on yourself, if you don't really believe in yourself, how can you expect your mom, your dad, your siblings, or your partner to trust you or believe in you? I mean, okay, just keep them aside, just leave them aside. Okay, it's not about them, it's all about you first. When you don't believe in yourself, you can't do anything. So just believe in yourself, okay? Okay, so now I'm going to end the podcast here. And if you really inspired by this book, I mean, I'm not sure if there's a paperback version of this book, but I got a Kindle version of this book, and trust me, it's really marvelous. So just grab your book and the Kindle version, or if you could get a paperback version and you're a type of a person wherein you love physical books like me, then please do get a paperback version and just read this book. It motivates you a lot. I mean, it personally did motivated me a lot, and I hope it does to you too. And okay, I'm going to end this podcast here, and you can just leave down some comments if you have already read this book and how did it motivate you, or if you are going to grab this book, yes, please by the means do so, and after reading it, leave some comments, save this podcast somewhere and come back and leave a comment on how did it motivate you. And the next, maybe I could come up with some other book which it motivates me, or some other topic which is trending or motivating, something. So till then, adios, bye bye, see you soon.